Hi everyone. Happy holidays, and I'm sure by the time most of you see this, it will be well into 2014. So I'm gonna keep this chronologically neutral. Yeah. So 2013, quite the year for a lot of things. Uh, First of all, I want to give my condolences to all the loved ones who had any relation whatsoever to Gekidan. For those of you who don't know, Gekidan was the founder of JE Fusion. It was a big Japanese entertainment and tokusatsu news website. Gekidan, Dan Valores, was from the Philippines, and he did everything in his power to try to get this news out to fans of anime, tokusatsu, J-pop, just Japanese culture in general. But there was a huge focus on tokusatsu, actually. And he he just recently lost the battle against central nuclear myopathy. It was a disease, a condition that had him that had him wheelchair ridden from a very early age. From what his family said, he was diagnosed at the age of 4. But yeah, I've said a lot about it on my page, on my own personal Facebook, and there's not really much more I can say about it besides what besides right now just saying just everyone keep his family and his other loved ones in your thoughts and prayers, and let's all try to be a little cooler to each other, especially in the tokusatsu fandom, where there's a ton of drama within rival sites. I know I'm asking a lot, and it might be falling upon deaf ears in certain cases, but if you see this as a problem, it's not a bad time to just try to do something to make things better. Moving on. Looking back on some things from this year. Big one I want to talk about, which I could possibly go on for days on end. Kamen Rider Gaim. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like it. No, I've tried so hard to get into this series, and we're past episode 10, and we still don't have any. I don't have any idea what's going on. Maybe certain people can read into it a little bit more than I am, but I fancy myself a very perceptive person, and any clues that are there towards bigger overarching plot, it feels contrived or it just feels lazy, and there's not much to like about this series for me. I think Kota is a very sloppy protagonist. Uh, Honestly, the only character that makes the show even tolerable for me is Kaito, Kamen Rider Baron, because he seems to be the only one that's rooted in some sense of reality. Everyone else just seems to be doing whatever, and I don't know. My big gripe with this series is there's just so much going on. We got the Invest Pokemon battles, we got the dance battle thing, which, by the way, the dancing sucks. You know, anyone who's seen any of my videos, I b-boy, so I kind of know what I'm talking about when I see bad dancing. But I digress. Yeah, the dance battles, and then Codehead's backstory, whatever that's supposed to be. And I just see this becoming another Ryuki, which, I enjoyed Ryuki for the most part, except for the final arc of it. And I'm hoping it doesn't become like that, but even then, I don't see it be having any amount of the weight of a show like Ryuki. And I understand a lot of people like it, and you're free to. I just am not feeling it. I'm going to try to tough it out. You know, I toughed out Wizard, and Lord knows what a shitstorm that was. Yeah. My worst fear is actually that I end up liking Wizard more than I liked this series. But who knows? Maybe Urabuchi will come at us with some more of his Madoka style hocus pocus. But I think my big problem with Urabuchi writing this series is he's doing it very much in the same way he did Madoka Magica, where it's like there's so much exposition going on to compensate for the length of the series, and there are just so many ridiculous moments going on, and I just don't know. But yeah, I will have to see how it goes, but so far, past episode 11, kind of just like. Next thing I want to talk about, you know, still watching Kyuuger, not watching it religiously like I did in the beginning. You know, it's a dumb fun show. I try to follow the plot, but it's just so sloppy. And I know that Riku Sanjo is capable of more. You know, he wrote Double, he wrote Gurren Lagann, so he's purely capable of writing a better series. I don't hate it, but it's not his best work, and it's not definitely there are better Sentai to watch. Speaking of Sentai, ToQger. Now, just gonna be honest, the suits are ugly, the mechs are ugly, but the production team is the same one as Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, so I'm going to give it a chance because I love Yatsuko Kobayashi's writing. You know, even at her worst, there were things, you know, Go Buster, even at her worst, there were things to still enjoy about it. And since, you know, we don't have Naomi Takaba working on that series, we might actually be able to get something besides this whole boy love thing. You know, thankfully she's on Gaim, which is a series I'm not going to be watching a lot of, so I don't have to see heavy amounts of boy love. Yeah. Yes, for those of you who don't know, Naomi Takaba is a producer at Toei, who many in my tokusatsu circles like to refer to as a Fujiyoshi producer. For those of you who don't know what Fujiyoshi means, it basically is a fangirl who is into gay boy love. Nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. I just am not paying or not. I'm just not coming into these shows to see that. I don't want to see that. You know, that was one of the things that kind of would take me out of O's once in a while, because Takaba and Kobayashi worked on that together. And, like, you know, that almost hot, steamy scene between Eiji and Ankh in the water towards the end of the series. I'm kind of just like, really? Really? But I digress. Yeah. So, Shinkenger team is working on this, and Kobayashi at the head. I like Kobayashi's work. I think she's a fantastic writer. You know, she writes some very compelling villains. They're not just like, rah, rah, I want to take over the world, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, she wrote one of my favorite Sentai villains of all time, Shimatsuri Dokoku, who, to this day, like I said, is at my top, because he was a noble villain, and I like noble villains. Will this be a noble villain in ToQger? I don't know. I can't predict the future, but I'll give it a shot. Okay. Speaking of predictions, yeah, finally going to get to Superhero Tyson Z. For those of you who never got a chance to find out my opinion on Tyson Z, on Tyson, the original Tyson, you know, there's a video somewhere in my channel. You watch that, and you know, I actually was wrong in predicting that Z was going to be just as bad. I actually liked Z to a certain extent. Do I think it was great? Hell no. But it was tolerable. They did modify things from the original film. You know, again, a lot less of this Fujiyoshi angst and more just doing an action story. One thing my friend Michael pointed out was it was a lot of "here comes a new challenger, here comes a new challenger." Yeah, you know, they should have called it Superhero Tyson Royal Rumble, in my opinion. And it was a lot more. It was still that whole thing where it's like heroes come and heroes go, and you never find out because we don't have time to explain these things. But you know, that's what I've come to expect from Tyson. I mean, there were still plenty of groaning moments, like the whole thing with Cyclone and the fart jokes. I'm just like, yeah, so it's gonna be that kind of movie. But yeah, I didn't hate it. I'd probably watch it again, you know, just to get like a more honest opinion on it. But for the most part, I didn't hate it. And a lot more people enjoyed this one than the last one. But yeah, moving on from that. Wow. I'm going to move on to my thoughts on The Time of the Doctor. It was in. I mean, Matt Smith's final speech at the end of the episode was definitely a tearjerker. It definitely pulled at some heartstrings. I think it was a great way for him to go out. And you know, as much as I love David Tennant, I think it was it had a lot more bite to it than simply, I don't want to go. But I will go over some of my problems with the episode. It was textbook Moffat. Divisive as hell. Everything just leading up to this regeneration. It's like Moffat was making it a point to beat over your head the fact that, oh yes, he can't regenerate anymore. He's at his last generation, because they brought it up every 5 minutes, and I'm just like, can we talk about something else? Isn't there anything else going on in this world besides these two talking about the goddamn regeneration? But that's not how Moffat works. He likes to create expository dialogue about the episode, even though the name of the episode is revealed, you know. He does the whole exposition thing with Sherlock, and I don't know, I was a little more forgiving at first, but now I'm kind of just like, stop it, Moffat. And looking back on Day of the Doctor, I remember it being the same thing, just really divisive, and at times taking me out of the experience, because Moffat, I know that you think that you're some sort of writing genius because you can do a setup and payoff, but bashing the point over the viewer's heads, it's not a good setup. It's contrived. It allows the fans to lose respect for you. I mean, you know, you've done a few good episodes here and there, but you know, maybe taking a back seat for a while might be good for you. You know, I'm looking forward to Neil Gaiman writing some of the episodes for 2014. Should be fun, but I don't know. I'm just going to watch the rest of Moffat's run with a grain of salt. And Peter Capaldi's first lines at the end of the episode, that piqued my interest, because I'm guessing now that he's the new Doctor. Part of his regeneration-itis, as I like to call it, is going to be that he needs to regain certain memories, because that's kind of the whole thing with Doctor Regeneration. He becomes discombobulated to some degree. It happened more with like Colin Baker and Peter Davison too. You know, they were never quite right in the head at the very beginning, because they were very rough regenerations. And you know, I guess to a greater extent, Tom Baker's regenerate from John Pertwee to Colin Baker. A lot of his personality was the way it was because he had a few screws loose. So it should be interesting to see what Capaldi does in the fall of 2014 when he becomes officially does his first run as the Doctor. And yeah, and I don't really know if I have too much more to say for this year, except thank you for all the subscriptions. Thank you for continuing to watch my videos, my vlogs mostly. I'm hoping to have some new stuff coming in 2014. Thank you for the support my Kickstarter, for anyone that could actually afford to support it. Thank you for just following me on Facebook too, because you guys are just as awesome. Thank you for supporting Hirotaku. Thank you for supporting Anasasu Podcast and AMC Radio. All you guys are awesome. It means a lot, and I love you all. Thank you. Have a happy, blessed New Year. Ja, matana.